Billy Fallon. For the last 11 years, I've been teaching communication to students in San Diego. When I tell people that I teach communication, a lot of times they think that somehow that means I'm working in the phone company or I'm on the radio. And while broadcasting is a small part of communication, it's actually a small part of a much larger picture. And, well, we don't work on cell towers. So what is communication? Communication is the complex and sometimes delicate process of creating and sharing meaning using symbols. Let me illustrate. We understand that psychology is the study of how our minds work. And we understand that sociology is the study of groups and cultures and society. But how do we bridge this gap? How do we take what's in our minds and share it with other people so that we have society and culture? That's communication. Whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many, it's using our verbal and nonverbal communication, our verbal and nonverbal behaviors to share understanding. My verbal communication, those are my words, and my nonverbals, that's what I do with my face and my body and my voice. It's all about establishing and maintaining relationships. Communication is about establishing and maintaining relationships. My value as a professor, my value as a friend, my value as a husband or a father is all dependent upon my ability to communicate. So students who study communication have an opportunity to improve their professional, their social, and their romantic relationships. Now that sounds easy, doesn't it? But communication is a lot like the game of golf. It's easy to understand. It's hard to do. So if you didn't study communication, I've created a one-day, intense, hands-on workshop to allow you to focus on the essentials of establishing and maintaining relationships. I call it the Communication Survival Kit. Now, in this Communication Survival Kit, you're going to learn what communication is and what communication isn't. There are several myths about communication, and we're going to start at the beginning by dispelling those. In order to establish relationships, we need to engage in conversation. And we need to engage in meaningful conversation. Now, small talk has its place, and it serves a purpose. But if we think of meaningful conversations as the food of a relationship, I like analogies. If we feed our relationships a steady diet of small talk, they're not going to grow, and eventually they'll die. You'll learn how to initiate meaningful conversations. But these conversations aren't just about talking. We need to be able to listen. In order to share understanding, we need to be able to receive information. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the habits is seek first to understand. Our ability to understand is predicated on our ability to listen well. You will learn how to listen well and how to avoid the pitfalls of poor listening. In every relationship, professional or personal, we make mistakes. If we think of those mistakes as relational injuries, then the apology is the first aid. Now, most of us aren't taught how to apologize. And poor apologies, like poor first aid, can do more harm than good. You'll learn how to apologize well, and it will make a difference. Sometimes people don't live up to their performance standards. People's behavior kind of violates the boundaries of our relationship, and we need to address these difficult issues. These issues are difficult to address. It's hard to tell someone that they're not performing to standard. It's hard to tell people that their behavior has violated our boundaries. But it's important for us to be able to enforce professional standards, to set personal boundaries. And you'll learn how to do this while minimizing the risk of damaging the relationship. We all appreciate humor. I did my master's thesis on humor. And the late great comedian Victor Borge once said that laughter is the shortest distance between two people. Unfortunately, much of the humor that we are exposed to in the media comes at the expense of others. It's detrimental to our relationships, even though it plays well on television. So you'll learn how to use your humor to strengthen your relationships, to facilitate the bonds that you have with your professional colleagues and your interpersonal relationships. Finally, we're going to take a look at technology. In the last 50 years, technological advances have drastically changed the way that we communicate. Now, these changes have had positive and negative results. So you're going to learn how to use technology to strengthen your relationships with people and not let it get in the way, to stay away from some of the negative results that communication has suffered as a result of as a result of technology. You can improve your communication skills, but it's not going to happen by watching a video. It's not going to happen by reading a book. Like any skill, you have to practice to get better at it. In this workshop, you're going to learn by doing. And at the end of the day, you will be a better communicator.